Welcome back, middies and cabin boys, to another thrilling episode of Program with Coach UJ's. This is your host, Jeremy Jones. We are talking about Week 18, Thursday, May 4th. So we're back to our competition context here. So this is another day that you want to talk about approaching the workout with, the competition mindset. And, the differences between competition mindset, practice mindset, and mental toughness are sometimes subtle, sometimes more aggressive. And the competition context is one where we're trying to pace the workouts so that we get the best score, and we're going to push ourselves a little bit into the red zone versus a practice context. Now, on a practice context day, we're still going to go hard, but if we look at the workout, we still want to get a good score. One of the best sort of summaries I can come up with is if we compete every single time we come in the gym, we're going to get hurt. If we always do mental toughness every time we come in the gym, we're going to get burned out over time. And if we only do practice context, then people are going to get bored. So that's the context is one of the ways that we can keep things interesting when it's just this sort of monotonous. We're constantly training. What are we training for? Why are we doing these? Why are we constantly having people come in and challenge themselves? And by having the different sort of flavors, we can make sure that people are getting the right amounts of competition mental toughness, but at the same time they're not getting bored. So we've got some shoulder mobility, and then we're doing some. We're not doing a skill practice warm-up. If you want to do a fun warm-up game, that's fine. With today's kind of time stamps, we want to start the power snatches at 15 after, and then that's going to give us a good 20 to 25 minutes to 30 minutes to finish that. And then there shouldn't be a ton of coaching here because we're into our strength cycle, but this is the time that you want to be giving more specific coaching tips to each athlete, because at this point you should know kind of where people are at. Do they need to work on their first pull? Are they working on finishing the pull at the top? One of my big coaching cues for snatchers in general when it comes to opening the hips and finishing the hips is lean back. Some people will, when they're coming up to the top of the pull, they won't open their hips all the way. And I'll hear coaches say, bring your hips to the bar or pull the bar into your hips. And the problem is that most people can't translate that into movement. It's not the best way for them to understand what to do. Instead of saying, having them stand above the bar, just stand there with no bar in their hands and putting your hand behind their back and saying, lean back until you touch my hand. And in order for them to lean back, they have to open their hips. And even though we don't really want people to have this excessive lean back, by telling them that, they can translate that to movement. And so this is one of those times where having a lot of different tools, a lot of different coaching cues. If you're telling somebody the same thing over and over again, they're not getting it. You're not being a good coach. You want to be able to say it. It's not if the first cue doesn't work, or it's like first or second time, change gears, try a different cue. And so by demonstrating the movements, they can see it visually, or trying to describe it verbally, or having them lean back and touch your hand kinesthetically. We'll make sure that those different types of learning modes are all included. But I like the lean back cue. It seems to get people to understand what they're doing. Say, lean back and touch my hand, and then they can translate that cue into movement. But that's it just depends on the athlete. But this is where you want to start getting more specific with everybody versus just saying, okay, everybody, remember we're doing the power snatches, let's do it. Another thing to do is to kind of set a general theme for the day. So as you demonstrate the movement and kind of prep everybody and have them do some drills, you can say, okay, today I want everybody really working on opening their hips at the top, and think about leaning back, and then you can use that as a general cue for the entire class that day, and then go around to each person and make sure they're getting a specific coaching tip, so that they have their what they can hear what they need to hear, and it's customized to them. We don't want to be generalizing when it comes to coaching, right? We always want to be giving specifics as much as possible, and that's one of the powers of the strength focus, is that we have a chance to do that. When we only work power snatches or any lift or movement, every few months, it's hard to give specifics. But when we're seeing these people regularly, you guys should be seeing that as coaches, that people have the same general problems and issues coming up with the lifts. And we're doing our half kneeling dumbbell press, and then this is a new workout, Broken Capstan. So the capstan's the part of the ship that they wind the ropes around. I saw the rope climbs. I just figured I'd use a ship reference. So we're doing, in 7 minutes, we're going to do a rope climb buy-in. So we've got lay downs or rope assisted pull-ups. Rope assisted pull-up is where you take a short rope and you attach it to a pull-up bar, and you have people hold the pull-up bar instead of the rope, because a lot of people, they can't really focus on what their feet are doing because they're struggling so much to hang onto the rope. So having them grab the pull-up bar allows them to hang in a much more comfortable fashion, and they can practice the technique for the feet. And in this case, it would be 10 would count. So just do 10 rope assisted pull-ups. The key here is that they actually unhook their feet every time. If they lock their feet in and then do 10 reps with their feet locked, that's not teaching them the hardest part, which is the coordination of grabbing the rope each time. So in order for them to do this, they need to unhook their feet, grab the rope, do a pull-up, unhook their feet, re-grab the rope, and every single time. So they're getting 10 repetitions of grabbing the rope with their feet, and that's the hardest part for most people. The athletic is two rope climbs, and the performance is 3. Then we're going to go into this spicy little deadlift jerk number. It's kind of reminiscent of something like DT or even Grace, but we're not doing cleans. We're doing deadlifts and jerks. It's going to be spicy for some people. If they end up getting into the 8, 9, 10 round range, that's a lot of reps for them to do. So just make sure that people are maintaining form. We don't want to see rounded backs on the deadlifts, and we don't want to see arched backs on the jerks where they're going to hyperextend their lumbar. So just be on people about that. Don't let them get sloppy as the number of rounds go on. Now, the scaling guide here, you can say after the rope climbs, it's going to be about 45 seconds per round. So you should be able to watch and see to make sure that people are going to get that 6 to 7 rep range minimum, if not more. And then there is a scale up with a heavier load. The other thing is on this one, if you don't have enough ropes to use, you can just send people in waves. And so that's one of the reasons why I said if we're going to do this with we want to start this one about 15 after, maybe 20 after. If you give them 25 minutes to do this, and then you started at 20, then we're at 45. So you got 15 minutes to kind of get everyone set up for the rope climbs and then do this workout. That's going to be kind of tight if you have to do 3 waves, because for most waves you're going to probably want to do about a minute per wave. So just be aware that you might need to start a wave sooner. Now, if you have some more advanced lifters and they need more time to kind of warm up and get through their sets, you might gather 3 or 4 or 5 people to do the first wave while the other people are kind of cleaning up and getting set up for the workout. So they're not standing around before the workout starts. So let them say, hey, you guys finish your lifts. We're going to get the first wave going. Start cleaning up, taking your Ollie shoes off or whatever you want to do, and then you guys can go in the second or third heat. And that way everybody's still they're not feeling rushed, but they're still getting everything done in the day. And then there is a cash out here of toes to bar and wall ball, which should be spicy enough for most people. Again, cash outs are going to be done after class. We want to make sure that people aren't feeling pressured to do them, but again, if you have people who are kind of squawking about the short metcons, that's the way we scratch that itch for them, is give them this option of doing the cash out. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thrive on.